Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a fabulous day. It is International Literacy Day, a really perfect day for us to be joining you. I'm Ashley Walters here with Holly Davis, and we're joined by Kristin Calder, Chief Executive Officer of the Literacy Coalition of Palm Beach County. Kristin, thanks for being here. You got to start us off, of course, by explaining what it is that you do.
Thank you, Ashley, and hi, Holly. I'm so thrilled to be here today to talk about the Literacy Coalition of Palm Beach County, Literacy Coalition of Palm Beach County. We have been for more than 30 years working in the community to help adults, children, and families improve the quality of life by promoting and achieving literacy. And we've been focused on helping adults gain literacy skills to get a successful, sustainable job, and helping children from birth all the way through school gain literacy skills and reading skills that will set them up for success in not only in school, but also in life.
Kristin, so there are a lot of things that we get really excited about here at WPTV, stories, food, you name it. But we're really excited, along with the Scripps Howard Foundation, to be partnering with you guys on If You Give a Child a Book campaign. This is such a big deal, not just for our community, which is what we're focusing on today, but across the country. We're in this pandemic. We've been in this pandemic for more than a year now. I cannot even imagine the things you guys are seeing in terms, we talk about the summer slide, but students who are struggling, who can't read, who are illiterate. This is a big mission for you all.
Absolutely, Holly. We know that, gosh, you touched upon so many things there. First of all, yes, we are just thrilled to have this kind of support from Channel 5, WPTV, the Scripps Howard Foundation. The fact that as an organization, all of you place such an emphasis on this and want to share it with the community, because we recognize too that this is part of the way that people can help and be a part of the solution to help so many families right now. So many of our social ills start with the lack of literacy and the lack of education. And so it's campaigns like If You Give a Child a Book that really raise awareness about the huge need for not just only literacy, but also getting books into the hands of children, and how significant and impactful that is. But also just as a country, and even our county, how important it is for us to focus on literacy, and so that we can help our students. We hear so much about students not reading on grade level by third grade, and that was even pre-pandemic. So we know that a lot of families have really struggled, especially with distance learning and without being able to focus on, so many different things, because they've had a lot to worry about. So it's a really great time for this campaign to bring us all together and say, let's talk about literacy. Let's talk about the needs. How can people help? And what these books really mean to our community, thanks to all of you here at Channel 5.
I mean, it's definitely worth mentioning as you take a look at the bottom of the screen, that little ticker, just a few dollars will buy a book for a child, and getting books into children's hands so they can actually own that book, be with that book at home. That's a huge deal. Thinking about this, just zooming out, I mean, obviously literacy means one thing to each individual child and their personal future. This also means a lot to our community, our society's future, to make sure these kids can be a success. Talk to us a little bit about the key parts when a child has the key of literacy, when they have that success and that confidence and that ability and clarity with their reading. What specifically do you see as that being so important to that child's well-being for years, decades to come?
It's really life-changing. If you're not good at something, let's face it, you don't want to do it. And we know up until third grade that you are learning to read. And once you finish that grade and go on fourth grade and up, you really have to be able to read to learn all of your other subjects. And so, the other amazing thing is so much of the brain development happens between the age of birth to 3 years of age. And that's why some of our programs start really early on. Really, every child that is born in a Palm Beach County hospital goes home with a book, thanks to some of our partnerships with Children's Services Council and the hospitals and early childhood programs, so that children are introduced to reading right from the start with their parents, and for parents to know the significance of verbal interaction, of talking to your children, reading aloud. That's where it all starts. And so it's not just in third grade that we want to focus on that. It really starts at birth and continues for a lifetime. So the Literacy Coalition provides programs, 11 of them throughout the county and more than 150 sites where we're doing just that. Offering programs where we partner with a pediatrician, for example, in our Reach Out and Read program, where we give the books to the pediatricians and the pediatricians talk to the family about the importance of reading. Also, the pediatrician can do a lot of assessing about the child's development just based on what they do with a book. I love it that, if a child puts a book in their mouth, that's actually a good thing. Learning to turn the pages. And, and also instead of going home with a lollipop or a sticker, they get to go home with a book on their well child checkups from the time that they're born up to age 5 to start their own home library. So those are the kinds of ways that we're starting very early on to get the books into the hands and to talk to the parents about that early development, because so much of it happens. Holly, you mentioned the summer slide, but a big part of it too is school readiness as part of that campaign for grade level reading. And those are two of those 3 components. And then the other one, of course, is attendance. And that has been an issue for us as well, as a county, just because of distance learning and other issues. But all 3 of those are really important for getting kids to read on grade level by 3rd grade.
Real quickly, I do have a comment in just a minute, but I want to say hello to our viewers who are listening in. Sandy, we see your comment. And Sandy wants to know, how can she help? How can they help? How can our viewers help?
Hi, Sandy. Thanks for that. That's a great question. We have a lot of ways that the community can get involved. One way is by donating today. Helping get books into the hands of the children is significant. Also, organizing your own book drive with a community organization. We have so many after-school programs, other nonprofit organizations, and even school classrooms that reach out to us and say, do you have books you can share with us, because we don't have any. And I can't tell you how happy it makes us feel to know that if you give us a book, we are going to find a new home for it, and it's going to make another child and family really happy. The other ways that you can help is that we have several volunteer tutoring opportunities where volunteers that we train can go into the classroom and help struggling readers improve their reading skills. We have this where you can do it once a week, twice a week, or even once a month, and a lot of different opportunities. And that information on our website, literacypbc.org. But you'll learn more about that through our Building Better Readers program, through a new spin-off of that we have called Read With Me. And the idea is that a caring adult is spending time with a child, reading, listening, actively paying attention to them and interacting with them and sharing and bonding over reading. And I think that's one of the most special things about it. And Ashley, you asked, about something tangible that's very specific. And so much of it, I think, is the confidence that a child can build. And once you become a proficient reader, it leads to successes in a lot of other ways, because you've got this, and you're not maybe embarrassed to raise your hand if you're called upon to read, or you can comprehend the text so you can follow along better. And it just goes a long way for a lot of different ways that not only the way you feel, but also your success that you achieve as you go through school and life.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, in a moment here, I want to talk about that Building Better Readers program, because Kristin, you gave me the great opportunity to share a session of that with our viewers this morning, which was really cool. We were actually able to kind of step in behind the scenes. I got to witness that between a great boy, an 8-year-old boy, it's just the cutest thing, and his tutor, Elise. And just to hear the interaction actually was really powerful. And I think, some parents probably do some of that more naturally than others, but it's something we can all learn, which is to ask the right questions of a child as they're reading or as you're opening the book, right? So she was great in how even over Zoom, reading the Great, she was able to stop him and say, hey, what does it mean when there's a question mark there? Like, what do we do? Why do you think that happened in the book, to make sure he was comprehending what he had just read? And some of those things that we can do interactively with children make a huge difference.
Yes, they do. And it's such a beautiful partnership, the whole Building Better Readers program, because our greatest partnerships are with the school district of Palm Beach County, with the libraries, the library system, and the municipal libraries, and other community-based organizations. And that's one of the wonderful things about being a coalition, is that you really get to help coordinate and facilitate a lot of collaboration. And so working with the schools to help be able to train our tutors, who then can work with the children and complement what the teacher is working on in the classroom, is really significant too. So these volunteers aren't just doing a good deed. They actually have been trained, and they receive weekly support through an email, but also our team and staff is there to help support them. And these volunteers connecting with their students, they've been trained to know, how do you help a child improve their comprehension? So those questions, Ashley, and a lot of them have been doing it now for several years as our program, and work with multiple children. They absolutely love it. These volunteers think of these children as their own, and the children have just the most heartwarming stories. One of my favorite is one of our volunteers, Janet, asked her student Shirley, what is your favorite day of the week, when they were looking at the calendar and talking about the days of the week. And she said, Shirley, what's your favorite day of the week? And Shirley looked at Janet and said, well, it's Tuesday, because Tuesdays I get to see you. And, we know, and you saw it with Kason and Elise in that story that you did today, just how important that one-on-one attention is for these children.
Sure.
And the tutors get as much out of it as the children do. So it's really a win-win for our community, and we're so happy to be able to coordinate opportunities like that for volunteers. And we'd love to have more, and we have some trainings actually coming up this month in September that you can find out more about on our website, how you can be a volunteer tutor as well.
Want to say hi to Julie. She commented one of her fondest memories from childhood is the love of reading, and I definitely have to agree with that. I'm going to take this conversation in just a different direction real quickly. As a mother of a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and you and I have had conversations about literacy before, but we're really starting to see some different things in our household. We read 20 minutes a night. And in the past year, when we've seen so much racial turmoil and some really adult topics that it's tough to explain to children, to small children, but they notice it. Books have really been a gateway for my family and for a lot of my friends' families to have that conversation in a way, a layman's way that those kids understand. Right now, my 4-year-old and I were reading a book because she's starting to notice some differences. Mommy, why is my hair different than somebody else's hair? And it's just amazing, because we often think about books give you that creative outlet, and obviously they're important, for learning, but they really can help you teach some kids some fundamentals about life too.
Yes, you are so right. And we pride ourselves on the diverse books that we introduce through our programs and we share through the community. There is a thought that books should act as windows and mirrors, so that children can see themselves reflected in literature, as well as learn about other cultures and other people that maybe don't look like them, to gain a greater appreciation and understanding. And we are real proud of the books that we offer through our programs that do just that. And, if you read about something, it's a great way then to talk about something, because it helps the children identify with how a character reacted, or what did that person do and how can that relate to them. So whether it's social emotional development, or, the exploration of learning, new cultures and about people that are different. than them. There's so much that can be said for that. We have members of our Literacy Coalition staff who've actually worked with the American Academy of Pediatrics through our Reach Out and Read program of actually helping select book lists and books that go on these lists that we recommend to other communities. And we actually are just put together an article about that, and we'll have that to share soon. But there's a lot of great books on that list, Holly, that I'd be happy to share with you and the community that do just that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a great resource, really, because I mean, we all had great books when we were young. Not everybody has that, but it's also like so many. We were all talking about this in the newsroom a minute ago. It's like there's so many cool new things that come out for all different age levels, and there's some really fabulous things that reflect different people on the pages and in really cool new formats. Even you mentioned for young adult readers as well. So to have some experts be able to know the entire pool of stuff and give us at least a starting point with some of those can be super helpful.
Yeah, and it's also great just to think that we have this great opportunity to share books like that, and so the books that we're ordering, because we gave out over 102,000 books last year, and by the way, more than 6,000 of those came through the generosity of the WPTV team and our Palm Beach County community. So that is tremendous. But it's a great opportunity for us to select books that we think accomplish that in that mission to share different cultures, different looks, different thoughts. Reading allows you to travel to far off places when you have to stay where you are. It allows you to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, to see something from a different vantage point. And it really is eye-opening just to change the way you think and be open-minded. So I think there's so much more, but the significant thing is you've got to be able to read to experience all those joys, and we know that, and that's why we have so many programs that meet students wherever they are. We're not just focused on infants and children and school-age children. We focus on high school youth that are at risk of not graduating through our Literacy AmeriCorps program, and we have members that serve as graduation coaches and mentors, and then our family literacy programs that are working with adults. You're never too old to learn to read, and whether you're in Belle Glade or Delray Beach or Jupiter, we're all over the county, trying to help spread that message and help provide skills for people that need them.
Real quickly, Kristin, and I know that it constantly fluctuates, but do you guys have any type of numbers or tracking on how many young students, young kids are illiterate or at least very close to the line?
Well, we know that nearly half of all the third graders in Palm Beach County are not reading on grade level. So that's a pretty significant number for us to know that there's a lot of work to be done. We know that there are other grades as well that suffer from that as well. But we know that that's one statistic that hasn't shifted a lot. And obviously there's a lot of factors that go into that. But we know that our programs are working and making a big difference, especially our program that's working with elementary school students to help get them closer to reading on grade level or on grade level reading.
We need to put up that special donation page to remind everybody who's watching right now how you can go about actually giving a book to a child and that they stay local. It's really cool. You'll see the ticker at the bottom of the screen. But if you go on your phone and you text WPTV to the number 345345, or you can go online to WPTV.com/give-a-book. Just even that $5 donation, they leverage it. And so that can buy a book for a child doesn't have one. If you can give $100, $500, whatever the case, even if it's just a couple dollars, will make a huge difference for children of all ages, but really focusing on getting that key to literacy so that our kids have a really good start and that they're not behind past that third grade spot. That's such a key part of what we're all doing. What else would you say? As we ask, viewers, you can also weigh in. Tell us some of your favorite books as children, favorite illustrators, the book that kind of like got you into a whole series. Yeah. We all have those, I think. But in your personal experience, Kristin, some of the things that you've seen with participants in your programs and how this has truly changed their lives.
Yes, and I will say just about that too. The books that we try to provide are high quality books, and they are a lot of the classics that everyone gets introduced to or should be introduced to, that we think are beloved books. So that is something we want to share. I think one thing I did want to add too is just related to the pandemic, and I want to just make sure that to make it clear that the Literacy Coalition adapted in the last year to provide all of our programming, and we did that in a variety of ways, including our tutors that all learned how to do virtual online tutoring for their students. And whether it was digital books or sharing the books where we would get them to the school and the school would distribute them to the families.
Yeah.
I think that was really remarkable to get to continue that even virtually and operate in that capacity. So we also have a lot of online resources that incorporate some of these favorite books that you may know, that go with lessons for stories in STEM, which has a curriculum based on STEM and technology, and pairing a book with that, or social emotional learning. And that's all on our website too. So those online resources are something that have come out of the pandemic, as well as our virtual tutoring that will continue as long as it needs to be. And again, featuring some of those books. I love it when our adults tutors even come in and they see the books that we have that we're giving out. We had some out on the table the other day that were from the previous If You Give a Book campaign. And to see adults get really excited about books they read as a child and get to share them, with the next generation is really cool to see.
I got to tell you, we're talking about, books and reading for kids, and they're definitely our focus today, but it's so therapeutic for adults too. I mean, once you have that love of learning, you kind of don't lose it. You have to make time for it, but you don't lose it. I know we're going to be wrapping up shortly. We want to give our viewers one more opportunity to get some of their questions in, but can you give us maybe just some concrete tips? We're asking people to donate and make a difference that way, but if you're a parent or a guardian, a babysitter, you're in a child's life somehow, what are just some easy things that people can do every day to help their children read better?
Well, Helene, like you said, number one, read with them 15 to 20 minutes a day. That is really significant. It's a great bedtime tradition, and it gets your child prepared. Getting to bed in an established bedtime is really good, and reading can help set the tone for that. Or a nap time during the day is also really great to set the tone with reading. The other thing I love is anytime, anywhere learning. And if you keep books with you or some kind of reading materials, keep them in the car, keep them in your handbag, because it never fails. I see so many people walking around, and I just want to hand out books, to children that I see there, idling in their stroller, or and the immediate reaction, I think, for a lot of parents is to hand off an electronic device to entertain the child, and a book would do the same thing, and be so much better in so many ways. But those are a couple of things. And then if you don't have a book, talk to your child. Talk about what you see around you. Talk about even if you're driving along. I remember doing that with my own children. Look, the sky is blue, the grass is green. Whatever you're talking about, and just to engage them and keep talking to them. Vocabulary is a big part of this. You hear things about the 30 million word gap, that children that come from lower socioeconomic groups that don't have the same introduction to words and vocabulary, and a lot of that stimulates from reading. And let's face it, if you've never heard a word and you see it on a page, it's really hard for you to read that word. And so that's why we talk about verbal interaction, the importance of talking to your child. And so even if it is just pointing out as you drive, nursery rhymes are really great. So there are a lot of things that cost nothing. It's just you giving a little bit of your focused attention to that child to help develop those early literacy skills that go a long way.
Awesome work. Thank you so much for everything you do for our community, for our children, for our adults, for that matter. Truly, we are just so grateful to be in partnership and happy to have the opportunity to get those books into children's hands. And again, you can see it right there on the bottom of your screen. It's so simple. to give $5, give $10, whatever you're comfortable, skip that cup of coffee through the drive-through and give a child a book. Huge, that's a gift for a lifetime.
All right. Kristin Calder, nice to see you. Ashley, nice to see you as well. If you give a child a book, you can change their life. You can give them a chance. It is so true. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye-bye.